How do you start your day? Do you start it with a list, a mental list maybe, of things that you can do, or do you begin your day by thinking of all the things that you can't do? Because we're living in a time of restriction. Even now, I think it's 22 weeks now, we're coming up to the end of week 22 since lockdown, and we're living through this time of restriction, and so people have been very focused on things that they can't do. But if we spend all our time thinking about that, thinking about what we can't do, then we spend all our time thinking negatively, and that's just not good. That's not good for our mental health, for our well-being. Much better to focus, to think about what we can do, because there are always things that we can do. And so it's good to start a day by thinking about some things, maybe 3 things, 4 things, 2 things even, but things that we can do. They don't have to be big things, just little things like going for a walk at lunchtime, or doing a bit of gardening, or whatever pushes your buttons, as they say. But thinking about those things. And so setting yourself achievable goals that you can do, so that your day has positives built into it straight from the start, right from the beginning. Yesterday I found out that though St Leonard's has been planning to open, of course we're planning to open a week tomorrow on the last Sunday in August, opening with 2 services, one at 10 o'clock and then one at 12 o'clock. We're not being allowed to do that because of restrictions. It seems that we've got to leave enough time. We're being told by the Church of Scotland that we have to leave enough time between the 2 services to allow for people to leave the church, for people to come in and clean the church, and then for the fumes from the disinfectant to dissipate, and for the various disinfectants to dry, and it's reckoned that's at least 5 hours or thereabouts. So we can't hold a service at 12 o'clock as we had planned, and I got really frustrated yesterday and angry, as Ilse would say, as only I can, and yeah, really angry and frustrated about this whole situation. But I've woken up this morning and thought, well, look, I've got a choice. I can either be negative about this, I can either look at what we are not being allowed to do at the restrictions, or I can be positive and focus on what we are being allowed to do. So I'm decided that today, I'm going to focus on the positive. I'm going to focus what we can do and focus on us getting open. Paperwork's in now. We're waiting to hear back now from the presbytery. At some point this week I'm going to focus on what we can do, what we are able to do, and on getting back into church and sharing once again in worship, even in limited ways, even in restricted ways, with limited numbers, not as we had hoped, not as we had wanted to do, but at least doing that. So focusing on a positive, on something that is achievable. And then after we've got that, well, then it's on to Cameron, which has, of course, because it's a different church, different congregation, different setting, Cameron has its own issues to work through, its own protocols to get in place so that we can reopen. So then it's on with that, and really looking forward to getting Cameron up and running again after this time. So focusing on the things that we can do, not on the things that we can't. And I think we can all do that, because we have a God who deals in that, a God who wants us to build our lives on what we can do, and not focus on the negatives. God knows that there are restrictions in life. Knows that there are things that we can't control, things that go wrong, but he wants us to focus on the positives. So let's do that. Let's do that through this weekend. Let's do that through these weeks. That's a good way to start a day. That's a good way to live a life. So there we go. And look at Brewer there. He always starts his day with a list of things that he can do. He certainly starts it with a list of things he wants to do. And usually I end up doing exactly what he wants. Take care, everyone. God bless. Keep safe.